because two plead guilty to Vallejo city official bribing a Vallejo city official after illegal marijuana grow was found. That's right. Two Bay Area men were convicted on federal charges Thursday, admitting to bribing a Vallejo city official after their illegal marijuana growing operation was found, prosecutors said. According to U.S. Attorney Philip Talbert's office, 41-year-old Stephen Chu of San Bruno and 36-year-old Ben Guan of San Francisco pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit federal program bribery. That's right. Court documents said the pair were running a growing operation inside a building where they were notified about violating multiple laws back in July of 2020. The violations included codes related to illegal drug activity, and subsequently Chu and Guan offered to pay and then paid a Vallejo building inspector to clear the violations and ensure the city would not interfere with their operations, the U.S. Attorney's office said in a statement. According to prosecutors, Chu and Guan paid the inspector at least 6 times, with payments totaling $27,000. The building inspector was working with law enforcement to record meetings with the pair. The note then T demands, and Chu and Guam face up to 5 years in prison and $250,000 fine. And prosecutors said the pair are scheduled to be sentenced on May 2nd, you guys. What do you guys think about this? Bribing Vallejo building code inspectors. I mean, Yara, you do cannabis and real estate.
They pled guilty too. So,
well, this is the thing. Let me break down what happened there for you. Old Steven and Chewy, listen, they're probably really good guys. I don't believe any of them, and this is why. What happened was you got to go back to the beginning of the story. The beginning of the story talks about how they caught the attention of authorities, right? And they started to press them. So what ended up happening is they get raided. And what the feds did, they said this: we can either smoke you on this weed grow, or you can plead to this little bribery thing that you guys got going on over here where, whatever it is. And that's really what it was. It was a trade. It was a bargaining system. What happens in 99% of our justice system today. It's merely a transactional bartering system. And what they said is, we will either smack you with this 10-year mandatory minimum, anything above 1,000 plants or 999 plants or above will trigger a mandatory minimum of 10 years in prison, or you could take this, bribery charge, and we'll give you whatever. You go to the camp with Martha Stewart and the rest of the bunch, and spreads, and you come back out, you write a book, whatever.
So Luke, we've had this conversation multiple times this year because there has been a lot of lawsuits and shit like that popping, and a lot of people snitching. Is it considered snitching if you go out and tell on these publicly appointed officials that you grease their pockets? Is that snitching?
Yeah. Anytime, to me, of course, I take a maybe a little bit of a harder stance on this because of my experiences. But anytime that your cooperation causes another individual to be incarcerated, that's snitching. I don't care how you want to flip it. I don't care who it is that you told on. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? Frank Lucas tried to get off at the beginning talking about hey, I was only telling on police officers when I cooperated. You told on mob guys too. It's okay though, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But it is what it is. Call a spade a spade. If you told on somebody and you cooperated with the authorities or the King's men back in the day, and the King's men came and grabbed somebody out of the village, guess what? You told on, you're a snitch. Sorry. I mean, it is what it is. Sometimes, but people don't understand. Listen,
they had all these conversations recorded with this building inspector, because the building inspector was working with the feds to record all these conversations, all these bribes.
Right.
I'd be curious to know whether the building inspector initially was bribed and then chose to bring this to the feds, or whether the building inspector from the very beginning was like, great, I'm going to catch these guys and they're going to double down and they're going to really put themselves in hot water. I also think the $27,000, if you get caught post adult use in California, they probably could have just put that on a really robust attorney's retainer and found a way through this, got a wrist slap. I don't know if they have a criminal record or any previous entanglements or justice involved, but if they didn't, this was definitely not the right approach. And I know that corruption is more important to the FBI than cultivation. And so they seem to just go in the wrong direction in terms of resolution of this issue. And I think it's also important to note that this was not regulated cannabis. This was not a bad actor in a new industry. This was somebody who was trying to stay in the shadows and do their thing, and that didn't work out so well for them.
And Yarrow too, this is a pretty cheap bribe. Also, I mean, they said they took $27,000 over the course of six payments. I mean, that breaks down to $4,500 per payment. I mean, who are you going to bribe with $4,500?
Bro, that's Vallejo, bro. Have you been to Vallejo lately?
Yeah, he's in Vallejo, bro.
But
I
used to be out there on Grant Magazine getting it in.
His bills ain't on LA levels, bro. Like 4,500 in Vallejo is like, that's like 20 grand here, bro.
No.
Yeah. Shout out to the hillside and the crest side. But man, listen, Vallejo's rough, bro. They're trying to get any dollar they can over there, man. Shout out to LaRussell too, man, holding it down for the V-Town.
Oh, LaRussell, man. We got to wrap on that, man.
I hope these guys didn't like try to 1099 this guy afterwards or something like that.
They probably did.
I hope these guys didn't make a rap video about it like some of those scammers from the fucking checks.
I mean, I just, the trouble that they could encounter for growing cannabis without a permit is this. And the trouble that they can get into for bribing is this. Like, there's not a world in which this was a strategic decision. This doesn't make any sense. It's pretty short-sighted. And now they got in a lot of hot water. Whereas if they had just done a clandestine grow and got caught, they probably could have just said, oops, my bad. And not a lot would have happened to them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I don't know about that part, because there was federal cats, right? So like I said, the mandatory minimums go 999 at 10 years, and then the mandatory minimums continue to go up the more that you grow. So if their grow was really large, they could have been looking at a 6 time.
Yeah, but that's assuming that they started I mean, I guess you could be right about this. You very well could be right about this.
So here's where I disagree with you, Luke. It sounds like they got caught by a local building inspector and that the bribery became a federal charge. But that doesn't mean that if they got caught merely for cultivation, that would have become a federal case.
Yeah, it's hard to say that.
The majority of cultivation cases in California do not go federal unless there are some additional circumstances.
Of course, I know. I mean, my judge said that when he let me out. He said we haven't prosecuted a case in federal case in California that didn't have to do with growing on federal land in a long time. So why should Scarmazzo still be in prison for this?
Mm-hmm. All true.
And they have no answer to that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
motherfuckers.
I'm here.
Yeah.